Hello everyone and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, proudly sponsored by the largest beer club in the world, Beer 52. They've got over 175,000 subscribers, and for our loyal listeners, we've teamed up with them to bring you an amazing offer. I've got two words for you: free beer. Now those two words excite me, especially when you put them together. If they excite you, head over to beer52.com/tonic and you'll be able to order yourself a free case of 8 uniquely crafted beers. And all you have to do is cover the postage costs of £5.95. You'll receive 8 uniquely crafted beers from that month's particular theme, a magazine and 2 snacks to complement it. Past themes have included Belgium, North and South Korea, California, New Zealand and many more. This changes monthly to keep the excitement going. You will be sampling beers of the world while listening to your favourite pod. So what's not to like? There's an option to choose light ales only if you like me and you prefer them to the dark ales. It is a monthly subscription, but it can be paused or cancelled at any time, so don't worry about that. As a listener, you'll know we love a beer on this pod, from Ben's burping to the sound of tins cracking. So hopefully you can join us for a few and help support our podcast and website going forward. So again, beer52.com/tonic. The offer is there. The postage is £5.95. It's free beer. Right, let's get on with the show. So this is episode 6, the Dream Team Tonic. With me, as usual, the co-host, Ben. You there, Ben?
Hi, mate. All right?
All good, mate. James, are you there?
I'm here, mate.
And for the monthly special, Fergie, you joining us this evening. You there, mate?
Tony, thank you, buddy. Thanks for having me on, lads.
It's good to have you on, mate. So we're going to do sponsorship. You'll probably just heard the advert. Just give that a little plug. Get yourself over if you like a few ales. Why not? There's lots of giveaways to come with that as well, so make sure you're subscribed, otherwise you're not going to be in it to win it. You need to be subscribed to be involved, so hit that subscribe button. We're going to jump into the teams first off. Fergie, you can do the honours, mate, seeing as we've not spoke to you for a few weeks. See how you're getting on with your featured team for us.
Cool, thanks, mate. Yeah, I entered 5 in the end. I tried to enter 10. And I say I tried to enter 10. I know it's not like physically difficult to enter 10, but I struggled with the final 5. I was just thinking about the management of it all. It's just absolutely crazy. So yeah. I did 5 last year, so I've entered 5 again this year. So my main team, which one we'll talk about now. So I got Sanchez in goals, who's done all right. I think, for his price, I've had a nice rise out of him. I think he's either 1.8 or 1.9 now, so he's doing okay. I got Trent, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, so it was nice for Maguire and Wan-Bissaka to finally get some points. Hopefully might get a bit of money back that lost off them in the last few weeks. And I brought in Reece James for I think it was, who did I bring him in for?
Regular.
But no, that was in my other team. It was for a midfielder. Lucas Moura, sorry. Yeah. Lucas Moura. So I brought him in because James was rising, Moura was dropping, and obviously Chelsea's look good. Reece James, I think I mentioned in the first one, I just think he looks brilliant for the season. Obviously got the assist early and then got the red card, so he'll miss one game. But I think moving forward, we mentioned last time that he comes on all the time, even when he's bent. So I think he's gold. So I think for me, unless he gets like a serious injury, I think he's a season keeper now. We're just expecting him to keep getting points and keep rising in price personally. So I'm happy to have him in there now.
Yeah.
I got Bruno and Ali, who both got -1s this week, but I did make an inspired move. I took out Buendia, who I brought in the week before for Mahrez, which was a bit of a mistake, a bit rushed. But I did bring in Ferran Torres on Saturday morning. I looked at his price, like insane price, 3.2. As soon as the Ronaldo deal kind of crashed and the Kane deal crashed, he looks an absolute snip to me. So regardless of what was going on, even regardless of his price, if he would have even been more than 4 million, I would probably have brought him in anyway, especially as a midfielder. Yeah. So at 3.2, he was an absolute steal. He'll go up now to 3.5 as well. I got some good points of him, so really happy with him. Yeah. And then at front, I've got Kane. So I brought in Kane for Son last Thursday, so I banked the 0.5 million. But lost out on however many points that was, 14 points or something. But again, it's a long-term pick. Kane's the best player in the game at Dream Team. He was had the highest score last year. Had the highest average rating on who scored last year. He's just an absolute beast of the game, isn't he? So I'm happy with him. And I've got Salah and Mane, and I would imagine that a bit of a topic of conversation for this week will be which like what do we do in terms of all these premiums is so tough, and this is why I've kind of kept Sanchez in there at the moment, and why. So I've already made my final transfer for them. I made it earlier on. I was having a look, and I've done Ali to Fornals because I think he's really good. He's got really low ownership. Obviously, West Ham are in Europe as well. I think he's only 2.9 mil, I want to say. But I think for me now, it's looking at we need cheap players in our teams because we need to be able to afford. Ronaldo's coming to the game at 7.5 million. Lukaku 6.5. Kane is 7. Salah is still 6. De Bruyne, who we haven't mentioned about, is like 6.5 or whatever. So I think that is the focus for me at the moment, is trying to think forward on, if I max out my budget all the time, just it's going to be so hard to get those premiums. So I think overall this team is around 87k, which is okay at this time. My best team is around I think it's about 800th overall, which had a good start. It was had a lot of Spurs players in there. Brought Torres in that team as well. Though I did do the Son and Reguilon to Kane and Reece James in that one as well. So if I'd have had the extra 20 odd points there, I'd probably be in the top 200 or 300. But c'est la vie. So yeah, that's me. A pretty decent, decent-ish start. I think quite happy with my team.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good start for Spurs as well. Makes it all the sweeter.
Well, Spurs top, Arsenal bottom. I'm sure.
I'm
sure Tony will have something to say about that, won't you, Tony, the Arsenal hater?
No, I'm not touching on that this week. I've promised. I've promised I'm not mentioning Arsenal this week.
Yeah, strange for Spurs, but we'll take it. The underlying stats haven't particularly pointed to 9 points, but maybe Nuno will just bring that thing of getting results when we're not playing well, all that sort of thing, which obviously every successful team needs. So incredible start. So yeah,
really good. Over to your team then, James.
Yeah, so I made 3 transfers this week before the Friday deadline to try and catch some of the price rises and falls in the right direction. Like Fergie, I took out Son for Kane. Son scored, which is typical. I also took out Gundogan because he was dropping for Grealish. Gundogan scored, but Grealish did get an assist, so that wasn't a complete disaster. I also took out Mora for Ben Rama because I thought there would be a big swing there in points. So I've got great team value this week, but very poor point score. In fact, it's probably one of the lowest point scores I recall. I've had a bit of a shocker. I've got 26 points this week, which is very disappointing. What a disaster Fabianski's been in goal for me. I've got -2 in total from him. He got another -1 this week, I think. I normally go for a premium set and forget in Dream Team. I think I just tried to be a bit too clever, and that's burnt me. Perhaps I should have done that in one of my other teams. But there you go. You live and learn. So at the back, I've got Trent, who got me 3 points. Reguilon, 8 points. Timikas, I was going to swap for Tanganga, but I didn't do it until I thought, I'll do that on Sunday. And then Timikas comes on for like 5 minutes at the end of the game, so I couldn't swap him. So that was a schoolboy error, really. I just in my brain, I just didn't expect Timikas to come on because I saw that Robertson was starting.
You may yourself have saved yourself a transfer there, James, because this afternoon Spurs have signed Emerson Royal, a right back from Barca. So you may have actually saved yourself a transfer there potentially.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one yet. No, that's good info, Fergie. Thank you. So in midfield, I've got Fernandez with a -1. Ben Rama, who I brought in on 0. Mahrez got me 5. Grealish got me 5. Up front, Salah 8, Mane 0, and Kane -1. I think he got a yellow card, didn't he? Which is annoying. So yeah, that's my team this week. Not a stellar performance by any stretch.
Yeah, I think Kane stung a hell of a lot of people, didn't he?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, the Simicus one's a bit harsh. But with that info that Fergie's just give, I'm sweating. We'll jump onto mine. I think we're all in a similar boat on these teams as well. 33 points for the week. It's quite a few teams in my 10 teams that have struggled a little bit with a point score similar to this. But then I have got 2 or 3 teams that have absolutely smashed it this week, which were quite heavy City and heavy Spurs. So in this, Alisson 0 points. Weren't expecting much of the Liverpool-Chelsea game. Alexander Arnold 3 points. Tanganga, who I brought in for Simicus after the price rise on the Friday. He got 8 points. Luke Shaw, I kept him in because he just fallen so much in value. You got to try and I were hoping that Varane coming into United backline and I'd see him get a clean sheet, which it did. But I don't know if you watched the game. Jesus, how did Wolves not score?
Yeah,
Unbelievable. But yeah, so they scabbed a clean sheet. Fernandes -1. Mahrez, I was toying Torres and Grealish. I had them all going around. In the end, I just thought, no. The advice you give is Mahrez, just put him in and leave him. He'll score your points, just leave him. He came on, got an assist, so 5 points ain't bad from the bench again. Benrahma, 0 points this week. I did Lucas Moura was dropping in value. Traore were obviously going up in value, or I thought he were going to go up in value. I don't think he did in the end.
he went down.
Did he go down?
He went down.
He come on as a sub late on, didn't he?
Yeah, he came on as a sub late on the Wednesday for 0. So he actually went. I think he went from 2.8 to 2.7, which crazy.
Yeah,
And he was star man for a lot of yesterday before De Gea made those really good saves.
He pulled off a few, didn't he, and
Did.
stole it. But I just thought a guaranteed 3 points. Traore is a little bit of a cheat, to be honest. But
Traore was on a 7 rating after 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He's unreal, though.
You're unlucky there, Tony, I think.
Yeah, tried to sneak a star man.
If he goes to Spurs, I think he will be absolutely nailed on. I mean,
yeah, definitely,
because they'll have all those games, as you say. You'll get the only bad thing, but the only thing is he might take some of Kane's star man points because he gets a lot of the season, doesn't he? But then 2.7, 2.8 million Traore at that price. My goodness, if he signs, he is nailed in my team.
Yeah,
Mind you, saying that though, it's like I've just spent 2.9 on Fornals, so Fornals has outscored Benrahma so far in Dream Team points, but Traore, I mean, they've got the game against Spurs as well, haven't they? In the cup. In the cup. So I think for September he's probably a really good pick actually.
Yeah, just leave him in for that. Like I say, them dribble points he gets. Like, if he just had a bit of more of an end product, he'd be an absolute machine. No one likes defending against him. No one can tackle him.
He's had 12
everyone
shots.
was bouncing off him.
He's had 12 shots so far this season.
Yeah. Wolves has an XG of something like 4.87 and they've scored 0 goals.
They're the next They're the new Brighton, aren't they?
They are. Incredible. It is.
But they look really good, Wolves.
We do.
Their assets look really good, but yeah, they're not in Europe, and then we're coming up to European games, so it's kind of the cup games, Up to
they got a nice run as well. They got a lovely run of fixtures. Watford, Brentford, Southampton, Newcastle, Villa, Leeds, Everton, Palace, West Ham, Norwich, Burnley. He could score some serious points in that run.
He could. If he puts his shooting boots on.
Yeah.
But it's good to see him playing like nearly the full games now. He's never really had that run of games, has he? No. Salah up top, 8 points. Kane with a -1, who I brought in for Son. Another one that's been burnt with that. Mane, 0 points. So yeah, total of 180 at the minute. I think it's about 29k that. Top team about 1.2k. I'm happy enough with the starts. I'm not. Everything could turn in a couple of weeks. It's not a time to panic about overall rank. But yeah, that's my team. 1.2 million in the budget. One transfer left, which we'll probably get onto a little bit later. What we're planning on. Over to your team, Ben.
Yeah. Thursday, I did a transfer after seeing Kane score 2 goals. So I thought I'll jump on that because he'll go up in price. So I looked at my team and I thought, I'll take Shaw out because he's going down. I think I gained 0.4 million in there for that. I thought Wolves would score this week because they haven't scored in the other 2 games and they've been knocking on the door, haven't they?
Yeah.
So I thought they might get one. So I thought, I'll take him out. Anyway, then I went to a wedding on Saturday, and it's hard work trying to do your transfers in the middle of a day when you're at a wedding. So I seen Robertson was going to be backed this weekend, so I had Tsimikas there, took him out for Cresswell, and I thought, West Ham are due a clean sheet. Nope, wrong there. -1 for Cresswell. Then I took Salah out for Antonio, which weren't too bad. 10 points for Antonio. Salah got 8, so gained 2 points there. And then on Sunday, when I was hungover, I saw Moura wasn't in the starting lineup, so I took him out for Pogba. I was umming and ahhing about putting Dyer in or Tanganga in, and I thought, they'll only get about 8 points if they get a clean sheet. I thought Pogba could like play really well and get some points here, so I went for the higher ceiling really, and it ended up biting me in the arse. I've got -1 with Pogba. He probably should have been sent off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your team, go on. What you say, Tony?
No, just about the subject of that. Like the commentators at the time, he's not touched him, and this, that, over. I mean, it was a dodgy tackle. It's a definite free kick. It's a definite yellow. Yeah, they're unlucky there, Wolves. Really unlucky. I figure a little bit harsh, especially when you got VAR, and you'd think they'd be able to notice something like that. But one of those, mate.
Apparently, they told him to have a look at it, and I don't know. This is what I heard, and he said, "Oh no, I was right on top of it. I seen it." So he didn't bother going to look at the VAR.
Yeah, I mean the frustration.
That's what I was saying on Match of the Day. Go on.
Neves, obviously, he's took his pad out. He's took his socks down. He's like, look at the state bottom of me shin. But yeah, it must be so frustrating that cost them the game. Game they probably deserve to win, I'd say. It's pretty harsh, but that's football, isn't it? So you're happy enough there, Ben? 175 points and
33 points this week, same as everyone else, I'd say. Luckily, I kept Son in. Got the 13 points there. Kane -1, Antonio 10, and then midfield's pretty poor. Fernandes and Pogba and Ali all on -1.
Yeah.
Mahrez come off the bench for a 5-point assist. And then I got in defence, I got Alexander Arnold 3 points, Cresswell -1, Reguilon got another 8 points, and I got Sanchez in goal -1. But yeah, like Fergie said, he's just getting a bit of value up now, 1.9. He'll probably go down again now, though, won't he?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Getting that extra bit of value over the last 2 game weeks, so as like say with all these premiums that are coming in, Ronaldo joining the game, Lukaku, that extra 1.5 million that you might have made on just a couple of transfers here and there, especially when we're flooded with 5 transfers straight off the bat, can make a massive difference going forward.
I think the thing which I'm kind of trying to think about the most now when I'm making the transfers is not, who is the best player to bring in. It's more for me around making sure that the formation of my team is flexible enough to be able to move on to other players if needed. It's very similar to how we play the Telegraph and Sky. Is you never just look at like your 1-for-1 transfer. You're thinking of if Ronaldo starts on that Saturday against Newcastle, do I have the formation and structure to be able to get there in 1 move or 2 moves? And I think that's like probably an important factor that players who are new new to the game may not, have considered. If you max out your budget,
Yeah.
then you're having to make 2 or 3 transfers just to get one player in, which is tough, and it's a long old game. So these structural focus changes are a really important part of the game, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, having a bit of cash left in the bank just to enable you to be able to make one move rather than two
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly.
can help you out for the next month or during that month. You don't want to be spending 3 transfers to have to get to a premium player. It's that pivot point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because no doubt, if you're spending 3 transfers, you're likely taking out at least 2 very good options as well, and that's when it's hard. Then that's when it bites you, because you take out, like, I don't know, say you have to downgrade Mahrez and Maguire because you need the funds. That'll be the week that they both smash it, and Ronaldo gets nothing, for example, and that's when you get a bit down in the dumps, isn't it?
Yeah, that's when it bites you in the arse. Right, we've got plenty of questions this evening, quite a hell of a lot. So let's start firing into them. Andrew Barnett has been on. With Ronaldo coming to United, what effect will this have on Bruno Fernandes' scoring potential? Ronaldo's possibly going to be taking penalties and free kicks. Would it be worth taking Fernandes out and putting a cheaper midfield option in? Over to you, James. I know you've done a bit of research on this.
Yeah, so Man United got 11 penalties in the Premier League last year, second only to Leicester with 12. Bruno scored 9 penalties and he missed 1. So if Ronaldo takes penalties and more of the set plays and things like that, it's going to affect Bruno's output, no doubt. 9 penalties on its own equates to 45 points in Dream Team, but that's not including any increases in ratings for those points scored. So you're probably looking at 70, 80 points at least, I would think. And it's difficult to work out how much that would have affected each of the ratings. But, that my gut feeling is going to be significantly dented. I think Bruno might have to make way for to provide funds for Ronaldo, to answer the question. Mind you, if you can have both and wait and see what happens, that might be another way to approach it. I mean, it's still early days. We're not 100% sure that Ronaldo is going to take penalties from Bruno. I mean, if Hindu Monkey on Twitter was saying that Bruno has got a better conversion percentage. So Bruno's got a 95% conversion rate, whereas Ronaldo's is 83%. So if Ollie's got the balls to tell Ronaldo that he's not on penalties because of that, we'll see. But my gut feeling is Ronaldo will hog everything like he does for Portugal and like he's done for all the teams in the past. He's the main man, the top dog. So I think it is going to affect Bruno.
Yeah, definitely. Ben?
Totally agree with everything you just said. They pretty much covered that question, I think. Looks like Ronaldo will be on everything, so probably worth waiting and see. I don't know. I'd probably wait and see first game, but
yeah. But free kicks. I mean, I know Ronaldo always goes to every team and takes free kicks. Is he really that good at free kicks?
He just scores the odd really spectacular one, that everyone remembers, but he misses an awful lot.
He does that swaz, doesn't he, on swaz free kick?
I'd much rather have James Ward-Prowse stood over the ball than Ronaldo. I think the technique difference, like the Beckham, when Beckham come up with the swerve over the thing and into the top corner, that's the free kick that you want. None of this, let's put my laces through it and just hope that it swerves into the top corner and it looks great. I don't want any of that tosh. So if I were manager, Ronaldo would nowhere near the penalties or the free kicks. And then I'd put that into his contract as well. But like you say, he's probably going to be all over it, isn't he?
Yeah.
What do you think, Fergie?
Yeah, no, it's hard to disagree. I think the only thing I would say in terms of how we look at managing it within our teams is they play at 3:00 next Saturday. So first you get to see if he's going to start, which I think
Yeah.
is important, because I think if he does start against Newcastle, bear in mind they've also got a Champions League game midweek as well. I a home to Newcastle, who have got one of the worst XGC in the league so far this season. It could be a field day, right? So I think if he does start, I'm trying to think of a way of having both of them in for that week, and then potentially maybe look to downgrade Bruno the week after, potentially, or downgrade, well, not downgrade Ronaldo maybe, but hopefully we get some clues in those first 2 games on how it will play out. But I think if you don't have Ronaldo for that week and he kicks off, his price will go from 7.5 to 7.8 likely, on the Thursday. He'll be so hard to get to. So I think, agree with everything everyone said about the penalties, and free kicks and bits and pieces. But I think, we should think about how to, again, it's back to that whole kind of team structure thing, right? How can you afford to get 7.5 million in if he starts? If he doesn't start, you could leave him a week maybe. But if he does start, I think, he's definitely in my team, which is why I've left Mane at front, because I was tempted by Antonio. I was looking at Ben's team, like with Antonio. I'm not sure there's room personally, unless Antonio, is it just his price, which is like putting us off as a premium option because he's performing like one. So he's the highest rating scoring player at the moment in the whole of Europe. And he's going to be playing in Europe as well. So is it just the fact that he's cheap is why we're not thinking of him as a premium option, or a West Ham just on a really good run? It's quite hard to decide, isn't it?
Can you take him out? That's the thing.
Exactly, because their fixtures are still really good.
Yeah.
And they're in Europe. So it's a really hard one.
Yeah, they've still got everything going from this month, haven't they? But it'd be a brave man to take him out, to be honest. Until he starts to nullify or his hamstrings, they like to go his hamstrings, so surely he's only a couple of weeks away from that. It's one of them, you take him out and he scores another brace next week, and week after international break, but you've got Ronaldo in who
I suppose it's the longer term sort of thing, and this is why I brought in Kane ahead of Son. This is why I'm not that fussed that Son scored the points this week and Kane didn't, because I know longer term that Kane will perform better. Yeah. And I suppose he's thinking about this with Ronaldo now. So if people keep Antonio and he scores 20 or 30 points in the next 3 weeks compared to Ronaldo's 10 or 15 points, but then you have to pay 8.1 million to get to Ronaldo when you really need him.
Yeah,
your team's in disarray, right? It's like it's going to be so hard. So there's a big decision for everyone there on: do you just get him in and just forget about him, or do you try and maneuver around him and hide behind the sofa every time he plays and pray he doesn't score points and pray his price doesn't go through the roof? It's a really tough one for managers, I think.
His ownership is going to be sky high as well, isn't it? So
absolutely,
yeah. I mean, if he bangs, then you haven't got him, you're screwed.
In trouble. Yeah, massive trouble. Right, Ian, told it all has been on. Reece James, keeper ditch, and then is it time to bring in a block? Chelsea, Liverpool, or City? Fergie, would you up to you for this first one?
Well, I brought in Reece James this week for his red card, but I'm definitely keeping it. He only misses the one game. Chelsea have got some nice, well, I say nice fixtures. They've got a lot of fixtures this month. Champions League games. They do have Spurs and City and Juventus actually, and Aston Villa this month. So their fixtures aren't the easiest, but I brought him in as a set and forget. So similar to what I was saying about Kane, similar to what I was saying for bringing Ronaldo. He's the kind of player I think you just leave in. I think if you transfer these players in and out, it just doesn't work. Like there's just no point because he can bang as he's proved at any time. So for me, he misses the game against Villa. But he'll be back for the Champions League game midweek, So I've kind of brought him in ahead of time because the fixtures for October are absolutely incredible. So I've tried to just bring him in. I'll just, I'll forget about him now. So I definitely keep.
Doesn't he miss the Zenit game as well? Because it was a straight red card, so I think it's two matches. When I checked earlier, he said he was out to the 19th or something like that.
I think that'll be in Premier League. So because it was a straight red card, it was because it's like a handball and not violent conduct. Right. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure as well that Premier League suspensions don't carry over normally to Champions League.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just going on previous experience here.
Yeah,
I'm not
no. So
100% sure, but
he still missed 2 Premier League games. Sorry, yeah, but not the Zenit game. Yeah.
And in terms of answering about the blocks, I probably wouldn't definitely not go to a Chelsea block this month. They have some really hard fixtures, and Liverpool or City. I don't think we've seen enough. Well, City's expected goals conceded is incredibly low. They're just really expensive. Is the problem. If you want to jump on Cancelo and Diaz, they're all really expensive. If you want to jump on that block, it means you likely can't have Ronaldo and everyone else. So I think this is where this season is so much better than last season in terms of there's real decisions to be made. You can't just have the best 11 players this year.
Yeah.
So, if you have a block Man City defence, there's no way you're going to be able to have 2 or 3 expensive premium. So I think, you just got to make a decision there for your team. I don't think it's time for a block yet, personally. I don't think any team has really stood out, apart from Man City, for being so tight at the back. And like I said, it's so expensive. So
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely mixed it up this year with all them premiums coming in.
Definitely.
But yeah, Reece James, quality player. Got to keep him, haven't you? Like you say, a bit of a set and forget. He's Chelsea. They are kind of looking a little bit fixture proof. They did so well in that second half. I said at half time, it wouldn't surprise me if he just changes it up a little bit and sees this out for a point. So good defensively.
Yeah.
So good. And are they fixture proof? Could they be? Could it be the defence that you need? 2 or 3 of them, maybe.
I think it definitely will be in October. I think if you look at their fixture for October,
Yeah.
they're absolutely insane. So this is why I've got Reece James in early, so I can double up then or triple up in October in 1 or 2 moves rather than have to use all my transfers to get them in. So
Yeah, definitely. Sensible moves. Right, Connor's been on. He's got 3 questions. We'll go through them. Number 1, with Adama being a glitch in who scored headquarters with his ratings, can he be an exception in our full European team squads? Go on, James.
Well, he's not. For me, no, because he's not playing in Europe. I think we were discussing earlier. If he goes to somewhere like Spurs or something like that, then that's just it's a different prospect. But
Yeah.
because he's not playing in Europe, it's not for me. He's nice and cheap, but I don't. I like to fill my side full of players with the extra European fixtures. So for me, that's a no.
Yeah, Ben?
Yeah, same for me. I like to fill up with extra plays with the extra games. They've got a nice run of fixtures though. Wolves. They've got Watford, Brentford, then Spurs in the cup, and then Southampton this month. But he's a bit of a glitch, isn't he? Like you definitely get 3 points off him every week or every game because of the 7 rating. But yeah, I just don't like picking him. He's got the most crosses and shots this season, I think, but it just doesn't seem to have any end product, do they, Wolves? So no for me.
Yeah, true. Fergie, I think we already touched on this a little bit earlier, didn't we?
yeah, I think it's really. I might stick him in 1 or 2 of my teams because I think if he gets an attack, he's been so unlucky, as you said. I think you mentioned earlier, Ben. He's had 12 shots, and players develop, right? So, if we look back at the start of last season and people were looking at Bamford and saying, "Oh, he doesn't score. He gets all he doesn't score." He's developed, and now look at him. He's he was awesome last year. He's going to be a really good option this year as well. Scored on the weekend, and historically, obviously, Adama. Lots of people look at his previous stats and say, "Oh, he hasn't done well historically." If you look at him play, if you just watch him play, there's no way he's not going to not return. And if he does score a goal, he will 99% of the time, unless someone else scores a hat trick, he'll get star man. So I think I'm tempted to put him in 1 or 2 of my other teams as a pure enabler. As we kind of talked about, to enable Ronaldo, etc.
Yeah.
I probably think he's a better option maybe than James and Ben. But he's in your team, Tony. So what's your sweet on him?
I completely agree. At the start of last season, he never really got the game time last year.
He didn't know, and he was playing at at right wing back last
Yeah, he
year,
was.
and he looks to be
He
playing
was-
as like a left forward now in
Yeah.
Jota's old role. So I think
Yeah.
it's different to last year.
Yeah, he's definitely. So I had him last year as kind of like a cheat. He never played out that way, but this year he's getting the game time, which I didn't expect. So, but yeah, I put him in a couple of teams, and he'd be one that, like you say, as an enabler, I'll keep in there because he's cheap. He's cheap, and rather than having maybe I don't know a cheap defender in there, I have someone he's got a ceiling. He's got a ceiling that's quite high.
He has.
Um,
Especially over the coming months with the fixtures. Like say, all
Yeah.
he needs is a goal, and you get 13 points.
Yeah, and that's what I looked at. So he'll be dropping into a couple more of my teams as well, just to make sure that bank balance is looking nice. Going into trying to get these premiums in Ronaldo and Lukaku and such. I think I put Kane into most of my teams, so he's already sat there. He'll probably drop in price this week, won't he, Kane? We're -1.
Yeah,
I'd expect.
Probably.
But he's in there now.
I reckon that's 7 million.
Yeah, probably.
I think with Kane now and Reece James and all these players, I would personally just ignore their value. They're just in for the season now, right? You don't want to be switching them in and out unless they get injured or whatever else. Just leave them. They're just there because they will go on runs where they can score like 30, 40, 50 points in a week. And if you miss them, oh my goodness, you don't want to miss those with their ownership, especially Kane.
Yeah, definitely. Second question. With more high price forwards coming to the Prem, who are the best cheap defenders? Ben?
Well, I think straight away you got to look at Spurs. They've got so many cheap defenders. Tanganga, 1.8 million. But you just said they've signed a right wing back from Barca, Emerson Royale.
Yeah. Emerson Royale, that's it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if he'll play like every game because obviously they've got the Europa conference, haven't they? But
yeah, and obviously Reguilon is very good price, and Eric Dyer, I think he's been really good this year. 2.3 million at the minute?
Really
so
cheap.
I made a mistake. I was umming and ahhing about him. I should have gone with him just to enable me cash for the strikers next week, but messed that up. Yeah.
Wouldn't I think if I had to guess, I would say Eric Dyer's probably more at risk of being replaced by Romaro when he gets fit. Although I think he's gone off on international duty now.
Yeah, so I think that's why Dyer's still playing.
Yeah, I don't know, Fergie, you're the Spurs fan. What do you think about Dyer's prospects of keeping his place with Romaro there?
Well, I think it's either going to be Dyer or Sanchez. And Sanchez is only 3 million, either way. So I think you probably leave it a week or two till it settles down. Romero gets in the team and we can see. But I do think either way, I think we all thought that Spurs manager would probably play a strongish team in the playoff, which he didn't, especially in the first leg. But now they're in the conference proper. I suppose we can look this week potentially, and maybe next week, and look who starts and get some clues. But again, I don't want to be putting in someone like Dyche as an example. I think he was fine to put in last week because, as you say, he got the points this weekend. He'll probably get some points maybe next week. So I think that I think that's fine. But I just be a bit careful about putting him in because if he doesn't play, you don't want to be having to take him out a couple of weeks later because he just he's wasting transfers then. So I think I'd probably wait a bit on that and see how it settles down over the next week or two. Personally,
yeah. Question 3. I think we've covered this, but dropping Bruno for Ron. I think Fergie said the sensible option is probably try and cover both for the Newcastle game and then see where it lies. Hopefully they get a penalty, and then we could tell who's on those, and we see a few free kicks in and around the box. I'd guess it's sure free kick duty. It'd just be using them then penalties.
I wonder if Bruno would get more of the ones where it's like curling them in, the closer ones, and Ronaldo may get the ones that's a bit further out, the ones that Rashford normally takes, maybe.
Yeah. More hit and miss.
Potentially. I think the penalties for me is the key one, though. That's a game changer. Whoever takes penalties is in the team. I think that's...
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those, isn't it? Whoever takes the penalties, probably the other one's going to make way. because, like James said, it's 70, 80 points. Because it's not just the goal, is it? It can be the 7 rating, it can be the star man. Yeah, it's big difference. Steve Cole, does Ronaldo make your teams?
Yes.
James, is he in?
Well, yeah, I think you've got to bring him in because he's going to be central to everything. I think. I mean, his price. He's not on the game yet. Obviously, he was having his medical today, I think, or something. There's talk of him being 7.5 million. I think that's probably about right, isn't it? Any thoughts on his price? Because that is a factor, of course. Have they announced it?
Pricing him higher than Kane, aren't they?
I remember him being 8 million before he left.
Yeah.
It's a lot of budget, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when he left, he wasn't even really like an out-and-out sort of striker,
No,
right?
he was a midfielder.
He was more midfielder. So
Yeah.
I think just another thing to mention on Ronaldo. So I looked at his who scored ratings in Serie A last season. His average score of the whole season was 7.6.
It's mental.
Only Kane and De Bruyne beat him in the Premier League. Kane had 7.8, De Bruyne had 7.7. Obviously, that's games played. But yeah, again, Kane and Ronaldo are those, well, if Ronaldo performs as expected and gets the penalties, I think Kane and Ronaldo just don't touch them all season. They just be so destructive. They're hat-trick material every game, right? There's not many players you can say that about.
That's it. Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. Steve, Skyboy Steve, is Kane still a must-have signing, or can Son be just as important? Ben?
Well, like you say, I went and got Kane in most of my teams, and when I could, I kept him in Son in last week for that fixture. But I think Son could cover you for a little bit if you haven't got the budget. But I'd definitely try and get Kane in at some point as soon as you can. Really, definitely Kane over Son for me.
Yeah. You boys agree?
I'd just like to say on that, I do have a slight concern with Nuno and the way that he's not known for his attacking teams. I do wonder if Kane's output will be less than previous seasons because, they didn't look very good against Watford. I know that's only one game, so I'm keeping an eye on that one. I do think that we haven't really sussed out how Nuno's going to get them and go attacking going forwards. I think that he could actually drop this year, but we'll see, I guess.
I think I've probably got a bit of a different view on that because you talk about managers not having attacking intent. Well, Spurs had Mourinho last year, and Kane was the highest player in the game by an absolute mile.
Okay,
so I personally just think he's so dangerous. He's very good on the ratings as well.
Yeah.
He was unlucky yesterday. If he'd have scored yesterday, I know he got his booking, but if he'd have scored yesterday, he would have very likely got an 8-pointer, maybe even a 13-pointer. I think with Kane, what my strategy is going to be over the season is when Spurs look to have a great month, be tempted to double up maybe on Kane and Son. But if I was only going for one personally, I would go for Kane. And the thing with Kane is similar to what we mentioned about Ronaldo earlier, is if he does have an amazing week or two and you haven't got him and his price gets so out of reach, he's going to be so hard to get to. And again, you're then making 2 or 3 transfers. I do think that's like a season-long sort of factor when I look at transfers.
Yeah. Staying on Spurs, a hell of a lot of this is on Spurs, Fergie. They obviously started well. They're in everyone's thoughts. Steve Cheek, for the European games, with Spurs have potentially easier opposition than the other English teams because there's been a few stinking draws, haven't they? Should we focus on Spurs players, but do we need to worry about rotation? Obviously, the conference games. What do you think, mate?
I think we should be asking Steve. I think we should be asking Steve because he's smashing it in here at the moment from what I've seen. Well played, Steve. I honestly don't know. I just think like this week or two we'll just get to see. I really don't know. I think we thought that they would play strongish games in the playoffs because of Nuno's European venture with Wolves, where he basically played his strongest 11 in every game. He absolutely, he flogged Jimenez that season to death, and all his top players, didn't he? So I honestly don't know. I think it's a wait and see, and this is why I'm waiting to see a bit on players like Dyer, maybe Sanchez, and players like that. I think players like Reguilon, that they tend to come on anyway. So I think that Reguilon is potentially good pick regardless. But
Yeah.
Players like Ali Moura, I think is probably better options. But this is what I mean. If Kane plays in any of these games, he's hat-trick material every game, right? In this in this competition, and Son as well. To be fair, I wouldn't blame anyone for holding on to Son this month personally. A bit of a fortunate goal yesterday, and this is the thing with Son and Kane is, it wasn't like Son was playing up front with Kane and Kane put him through and Son rounded the key, like a typical kind of striker's finish. It was a free kick which evaded everyone. So this is why I tend to go for Kane ahead of Son, and Kane's on penalties as well. I probably think instead of putting all your eggs in one basket with Spurs, I'd leave them if you've got them in. So in my best team, for example, I've got 5 of them in, I think. So I'll just leave them for a week or two and see what happens. But I'm afraid I haven't got the answer. I don't know if any of you guys have got any other thoughts on what they're going to do.
No, I think you're right. We'll probably know more after this first proper game on who his European team might be, because if you go out off, say, even the second leg, I think he played Davis at left back. Did Aurier get a game? Or Doherty?
No,
Sorry,
Doherty
played right back. So he's obviously rotated his fullbacks in that second game proper. So is he going to do that every Thursday night? It's guesswork, isn't it? Now they're in there proper. Yeah, we're just going to wait a couple of weeks and see what the crack is there. But yeah, you won't be jumping off that Spurs train at the minute. If you've got 4 or 5 Spurs players, keep them in there and just see what happens. Lorenzo Consiglio. Players' pricing seems more vicious this year and based more on last game played. A 5-minute cameo can be a 0.3 drop for the bigger players. Raheem Sterling's price drop is coming this week, which probably is. When is it time to jump on this points machine? James?
I was hoping you go to Ben for that one. He's the Sterling fan. I don't. Are the prices more vicious this year? I'm not sure they are. I think possibly they are a bit harsher in terms that they're affecting players that we all have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that there's any difference, and I'm not sure about the comment on the 5-minute cameo. I suppose he's referring to a player coming on and not doing anything and then getting 3 drops. So yeah, I mean that's a fair point. It is tough. Raheem Sterling, points machine. Well, he wasn't like a points machine last year. He's 4.4 million at the moment, possibly coming up for another drop. Then I think he's at that price. I mean, yeah, he's probably worth having, isn't he? He's seems to be coming off the bench for City at the moment. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about jumping on Sterling?
I think he's got to win his place back first.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And I can't see it. They've spent 100 million on Grealish, who's out on that left-hand side. And then it looks to me like I know that he's tried Sterling through the middle a few times over the seasons, but it seems Torres has got that position. So where is he playing? I think bench is his position now, for me. Yeah. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I wouldn't be picking him at any teams yet. He might rotate in Europe, might give him a game that game, but yeah, I wouldn't pick him. It seems to be biting people on the arse, these little cameos off the bench for the attacking players. But like you say, with Reece James last season, he kept coming off the bench for Chelsea and still getting the 5 points for the clean sheet. So it can work both ways. Yeah.
I think for me, it's just because it's the third round of the EFL Cup. we're not going to see this again now all season. You may see a bit more in the fourth round, but we saw a lot of weakened teams this year. And the top players all kind of came on with 5 or 10 minutes left. May see that in the fourth round as well, potentially. But yeah, I personally think it's a bit of a blip, and I don't think we'll see that again, because they're not going to do it in Europe, right? So because all the top teams are now in Europe, they're not going to be bringing on the best players with 5 minutes left and stuff. Apart from maybe Man City, who may, as you mentioned, like Sterling may start in Champions League, and Mahrez gets 5 minutes at the end, or Grealish gets 5 minutes at the end. But I think all these players, all these City players, are all going to get 2 or 3 games out of 5. So I think, if you do go with Sterling, if someone is tempted, I just leave him in, because again, he's the kind of player, as soon as you take him out, he'll start 2 or 3 on the bounce, and because you'll have dropped him because he hasn't played for a couple of games, sort of thing. It's hard work. I think that's the thing with the Man City players, you just leave him in. So I've got Torres in now, and as long as he's fit, he won't be leaving my team, no matter if he doesn't play for 5 or 6 games, because he'll likely play the next 2 or 3.
Yeah.
James?
That Wickham game.
Sorry,
that Wickham game looks tasty as well. Sterling could start that game.
Yeah, exactly. Or Jesus, maybe. He could be another one. Or if De Bruyne is back, he may play in the false 9. We haven't mentioned him yet. He's 6.5 million. And,
yeah, that's going to make things a bit messy. Another one from Lorenzo. With Benjamin Mendy not looking like he will be returning anytime soon, does that give Cancelo even more game time? Obviously, he covers left back and right back. For me, I think that nails him more or less. You're probably in the side. What do you reckon, James? Cancelo a good option for you?
Well, he's played left back a couple of times this year. Last season he was more right back. Obviously, he's still fighting with Zinchenko on the left and Walker on the right. I think he probably does get a bit more game time, but he's going to be rotated as he was last year. I think it's still a rotation risk.
Yeah,
it's a good option. He's a good player though, and when he plays, he's capable of a big haul. I mean, I think I said a couple of pods ago. Do you think maybe now with Grealish in there, having that more of a sort of free role on the left, roaming around, that perhaps Cancelo may not be given the license to do that? Or do you think it will continue as it was last season with him playing all over the pitch?
He does seem to pop up anywhere, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Sometimes you see him on right side of the area having a pot shot when he's playing left back. He's just one of them players that it seems like he's given a little bit of a free role, especially when Rodri or Fernandinho drop in and make a 3 centre back kind of a back line for City when they're attacking. I think they've got a lot of players that have a little bit of the freedom, and he likes a shot. He's an assist machine. He's a goal machine. He's got a bit of everything about him, obviously. And then to boot, he gets clean sheets for you. So he's a very good option.
He's good on ratings as well. He had Starman in the Carabao Cup final in the 1-0. Was it 1-0 or 2-0? And he didn't even play, did he? He didn't even score. He didn't get any returns, but he had Starman. So he's good on ratings. I'm sure he was like one of the highest scoring defender last season, 240 odd points.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah,
I'd love to get him in. It's just like a 5 million. I think they've priced him really well to make you make a decision. I think if he was like 3.5 or 4, he'd be in everyone's team. But because he's 5 million, I think he's really given. They've really given us a decision to kind of make on it. So I think they've priced him well there. He's already scored 19 points. Under the radar, only 1 point less than Benrahma, who's been on fire. Scored more points than Diaz and Kane and all these players. So he silently just gets the points all the time. I'd love to get him in my team if I could. I was just having a look then of how I can get him in, and he's just so hard. I'd have to take out like Maguire, for him, find $1 million from somewhere.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking for money to be able to get up to Ronaldo. So I think, as I say, I think the game is shaken up really, really well, and decisions have to be made. I think is brilliant. But I think he's a fantastic option. I think if you got a chance to get him in, I'd get him in personally.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, I know ideally you'd want Cancelo in, but what's your thoughts on Laporte? He's got 21 points this season, and he's only 3.7 million. It looks. I don't know.
Stones.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Stones. I was about to say. I've tried looking up some information, but can't seem to find him.
Yeah, I think I saw something earlier. He's obviously late back because of the Euros, and I think he's had a little knock. But
Right.
I think Pep confirmed today that his squad is fully fit now, apart from De Bruyne and who's the other and Foden.
Yeah.
So now, if he's saying that, that probably says that Stones is fit. So I'm sure Laporte will play a few games,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure how much Stones is now. But he could be one to maybe take a punt on. He started at 4 million, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he'll still be 4 because he hasn't played.
Because he hasn't played, so he could be one potentially. But as I say, expect them all to play 3 out of 5 games. So I wouldn't be going on Laporte personally. I think I prefer to pay the extra for Cancelo. He's got all that extra upside.
Right, R9's been on. The real Ronaldo. Ronaldo number 9. The Inter Milan one.
Yeah.
With European and League Cup games coming up, are you looking at the teams with an easy run or trying to fit in essential players at their current price despite tough fixtures coming up, e.g. Lukaku? Ben, what's you for that, mate?
Well, yeah, you want to obviously get on the players with the best runs, but you want to get in big players as well. So it's a tough decision, isn't it? Like we were saying before, you've got to try and balance the books. So I probably won't be getting in Lukaku straight away in my main team anyway. I'll probably get him in somewhere with 10 teams. Yeah. But it's a tough one. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Go on, James.
Well, just like Ben said, it's a balancing act. You need a mixture of players with good fixtures, but then you've got your big hitters or the players that are are fixture proof, if you like, that can score against anybody. So it's a tricky one to answer. I probably wouldn't be bringing in, if he's mentioned Lukaku, I probably won't be bringing him in straight in just yet. Chelsea's fixture is still quite tough, so it's just a balancing act, and you've got to have maybe a look at certainly with your defenders, maybe look at the fixtures more, but then with your more attacking ones, go your heavy hitters, then they can score against anyone. So you've just got to balance your side up.
Yeah, completely agree. Fergie?
Yeah, I think I'm probably tended to play a little bit more on the longer term sort of thought whenever I make a transfer now, I think, because now we've entered the European phase. I think I think the last month, which is not my kind of forte, I always struggle in these kind of months when you're picking, like, there's such a massive pool to choose from where you've got all the rest of the league. I find it quite hard, but I think when you move into this European phase now, in terms of what the question was, I think is a really, really good question, really good point around getting the players in at their current prices. Is what we mentioned about Kane and Ronaldo and all these players. If you don't get a Ronaldo till a month down the line, he could be 8.5 million potentially, and then you're stuffed because you have to completely destroy your team to get in a player who will have already likely scored 40, 50, 60 points and just ruin your rank every week. So I think personally how I play, and this is why I brought in Kane and Reece James, and why I'm not too disappointed about them getting their returns this weekend, is because I know there's a high likelihood of them being excellent long-term picks. And I think, in terms of the kind of players or managers who are maybe flying high now and have used all their transfers, not really thinking about next month and the month after, and have got, all these non-European players, a few of them will have started really well. But I think, our teams with that real, as I mentioned, balanced approach now, I think we'll see over September, October, November, December, that our teams will just slowly climb, as a lot of others will go, up and down. And I much prefer to have that really solid, say, 60 points every week, rather than 30, 80, 21, 74. I prefer to have
Yeah.
between, that's how I played it last year. And I think this is why I've brought in Reece James now, even though he's got hard fixtures this month. I'm just bringing the one player because then I can move on to a double or triple potentially, in October. And this is why I'm looking at Cancelo as well, because I think again he could be, he's such an awesome pick. And this is why I brought in Torres as an enabler. That's why I may be looking at Traore or Fornals or someone like that as an enabler. Why I've left Sanchez in goal, because these players can quickly get away from you in terms of price. So my advice would be, if you're looking to get the best players in, I probably wouldn't hesitate, because I think they'll get away from you really, really quickly in terms of price. Personally, that's how I played it last year.
We're probably all going to struggle, obviously, with the 3 striking options, only having 3 spots. So you're probably looking at Kane, Ronaldo. Who's the other? Lukaku, Son, Mane, Salah. I mean, we're all going to have this important decision to make. So I think there, where he's saying about Lukaku, would he be one of the 3 that you try and get in before he bangs? We don't know whether he's on penalties yet, because we don't know whether he's been given that responsibility. But I mean, if Lukaku were on penalties, surely he's someone you've got to get in, because he's hat trick. He's hat trick material every single game. I think he's pretty much fixture proof as well. He can dominate defenses. I think if Chelsea didn't have that red card against Liverpool, we'd probably have seen a little bit more of him. It probably ruined a really good game, that. But yeah, Lukaku's so dangerous, and his price. You could have Salah. There's going to be one of these premiums that just get out of your reach, I think, over the course of the season.
Are you gonna rotate them?
Well, if you could, because if one of them bangs and they do creep just slightly out your reach, it's going to be. That's what makes it probably a little bit better this year.
Yeah, it's a lot better this year, I think.
It's going to be quite challenging. You might find yourself caught out, even if you plan so well. I think you could find yourself a little bit short here and there. But these enablers are going to be massive, aren't they?
They are. I mentioned earlier that Ronaldo's who scored rating in Italy last season was 7.6. His strike partner in the seasonal best 11 was Lukaku at 7.5. Now, I know from a bit of preseason analysis, actually, that I learned off James as well, like Salah's ratings don't tend to be very good if he doesn't score, and Mane actually gets a lot more. He gets higher ratings, gets star man. So I think based on that, I think my ideal front 3 would probably be Ronaldo, Kane and Lukaku, personally. But it's going to be scary watching Liverpool every week and the Champions League, and it's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're all on pens and all this jazz. So I think it's so hard. It may just be kind of looking at the fixtures a little bit potentially. I kind of agree with James's point about maybe leaving Lukaku for this month, leave Salah in for this month, and then maybe have a look. But again, if Lukaku gets back to backs and suddenly he's up to 7 million, you're then having to look to switch out either Kane or Ronaldo to bring him in, which you don't want to be doing either. So I think it's a really, really tough decision, and I think it'll make or break a lot of leagues and stuff, because as you say, they're hat trick. They're like 28 points in the game material, aren't they? Yeah, really, really tough one. I would say Lukaku long term, maybe Salah short term as the third one. It's probably what I'll do in my teams, but it's tough.
Yeah, James, add out to that, mate.
No, I think we've covered that one.
Covered that. Right, Fergie's apprentice. Is Grealish a hold? And who would be your 3 players to look to bring in for the next month? Go on, James. We'll go to you for that then, mate.
I think, well, like we keep saying, don't we? If you've got a Man City midfielder, you probably want to. There's no point switching them around, is there? Grealish looks good from what he passes the eye test. I think he is a hold. So I would certainly keep Grealish. Do you want me to do the second half of the question as well?
Yeah.
Three
in.
players to bring in this month. Well, Ronaldo, maybe Torres. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Torres is a must. At that price, before he just flies up in value, doesn't look like City are going to bring in a striker. So it looks like he might. Do you know how Jesus has really impressed out wide?
Yeah.
It's really strange. Obviously, Ferran Torres probably looking more like the winger. Jesus meant to be the number 9, but they've switched roles and they look a hell of a lot better that way around. So yeah, I've been impressed by Jesus. He's definitely on a watch list, but with that striking role, I mean, you're going to struggle to fit him in there.
That's it. It's with Torres being a midfielder, you don't lose one of your striking places, then do you?
It's a little bit of a no-brainer at that price as well.
Yeah.
Torres, Ronaldo, obviously, and I'm probably going to try and squeeze Cancelo into a few more of my sides because over the course of the season, he's going to score a hell of a lot of points. Set and forget him. They're the 3 for me. How about you, Fergie?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. Obviously, when Torres is that really good budget option, but I think one of the important things, as we talked about already, is trying to find that other budget option you need. I think that's going to be the hard part. There's no point maxing your team out.
Yeah.
If you haven't got, say, Kane, Ronaldo, all these kind of players, so it's going to be interesting for me. I think this whole Bruno thing is really important. So if they play against Newcastle in the Champions League and it's clear that Ronaldo just dominating everything, I think you could go down then for Bruno the week after to maybe like I say, like a West Ham midfielder. They're all really cheap. Fornals, Benrahma, maybe a Troyer at Wolves, and then look to maybe move up your say Mane up to Lukaku or whoever it is. But I think it's finding that enabler for one. I think Torres is just a no-brainer now. But unless they make a marquee sign in the next 48 hours, I think Torres is a no-brainer. And I think Ronaldo, as I say, I also really like Reece James, Cancelo. Just interested in your guys' thoughts on the keeper situation. Ben, you've got Sanchez as well, haven't you?
Yeah,
Are you just going to leave him in because he's hard to upgrade, isn't he?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's how I usually start with when there used to be more options up front. Obviously, in the last 2 seasons, I don't think there's been much options up front as in expensive strikers. But this season now with the 2 new signings, Lukaku and Ronaldo, I think I'm going to have to stick with Sanchez. The only other goalkeeper I like the look of with the price now is De Gea. He's 2.7 million, but he's going to get a rise if you can get him in before Friday. It might be worth the jump, but still, it's he's 1.9 Sanchez, so he's going to go down probably to 1.7. You probably could keep him and then try and drop a defender down. That's why I was saying Dyer before, he's so cheap, and he will play the next few games, and then you might have to move him on again when he might gain another 0.6, so you're gaining again on value.
Yeah.
I think Edward Mendy is one I really want in ahead of October because he will likely go on a massive run of clean.
Yeah.
He could have 9 or 10 clean sheets in 12 games, and his price will then go through the roof, and he'll be impossible to get to. He's 4.2 million now, so he could go up to 5 or 5.5 million. You don't want to be spending that to get a keeper in, do you, in November or December?
Yeah.
So I think once Chelsea's fixtures change, hopefully Mendy is still within reach in terms of price, and then he'll very likely be a set and forget for the rest of the season probably.
Yeah, what about Zuma? Just signed for West Ham, 3 million. Obviously, we don't. It will come in eventually, but will he come in straight away? Because they're winning games, aren't they? But they're conceding at the same time. They're not kept any clean sheets yet.
Yeah. I think if he was less, I think I'd be more interested. If he was 2 or 2.5, I think at 3 million, you're probably better off spending a little bit more. Like Wan-Bissaka's 3.4, is he now or something?
3.2, yeah.
3.2. Sorry. So for a little bit more, you can probably get a bit more of a premium option. I think if he was less, I think it'd be a great option.
Yeah.
But I think at 3 million, I think we're within reach of better players personally.
Yeah. Dawson's 2.2 million.
he could be a good one. So
Yeah.
if he plays with Zuma, he could be the one to move to. Really, really free. If you can go
Yeah.
from, like, I know, Bruno and Maguire, say, to Dawson and a cheap other player and Torres, that'll free up 5 million, which means you can get your keeper up, or you can get Cancelo, or you can get Ronaldo and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Right, Mike's been on. I think we've pretty much covered Lukaku or Ronaldo as a long-term dream team option up front. I think pretty much both of them are the long-term option. I don't think we need to touch on that again, Mike, but hopefully the answers for the previous questions have covered that for you. Also, what are your day jobs, lads? James?
I'm an IT guy. I used to be a software development manager for a multinational company. Now I work for a friend of mine, doing all his IT work, bit of programming, bit of data processing, that kind of thing.
Top man. Ben?
I work in steelworks at the moment. Yeah, forklift driving, and basically do everything, cutting the steel and preparing it all ready for the jobs we're going to make.
Grafting.
Aye.
Fergie, I think we know your answer, don't we, mate? You've got best job, haven't you?
It's all right at the moment. It's hard work. But yeah, I'm a full-time editor at Fantasy Football Hub. .co.uk, so editor and podcast host, and look after all the content on the website and all the, well, not all, so some of the kind of YouTube things and all that stuff. So yeah, I did a similar role to James a couple of years ago, more on the QA side, quality assurance side. James, boo.
Yeah.
But started to be doing this now for about a year and a half, about a year and a half full time. So yeah, very, very fortunate position to be in.
Happy days. And I'm myself a print supervisor, a printer, not like an Epson or something like that, but yeah, to print pharmaceutical cartons. Been doing that for about 10 years, but going back to uni, going to study IT and design, so
Oh wow, brilliant.
hopefully the employers aren't listening to this and they know I'm on my route out, but but yeah, eventually want to work for myself, so that's the dream. Right, it's over to the Dream Team Tonic Cash League Top 10 readout, and I won't be doing the honours today. Go on, James. You could do it for us, mate.
Right. In joint 9th place, we have Mark Williams, Peter Crawley, and Anthony Sutcliffe.
Cue the applause.
Hey.
There I am. Finally. Didn't take long this year.
In joint 6th, we've got Niels Koopman, Mark Williamson, and Henry Cartridge. In 5th, we've got Niels Koopman again. In 4th, Alex Cole. In 3rd, Jonathan Parrott. In 2nd, Darren Slater. And in 1st, Jonathan Parrott.
Braveheart. Up there at top. New leader. First time this week. Well done, Jonathan.
Yeah, well
Good
done.
start, mate. 226. Very, very good effort. Right. On to another league table. And I swear to God, I won't be making my next decision drunk. The differential choices we're putting this week. We've got a quick league table. James, you're at the top.
Get in.
Chose
Antonio.
A great option. 10 points and 20 points. So he's sat there on 30. The community and Connor chose Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He got a nice haul of 21 points over the couple of games. Fergie in 3rd place. You made a bit of a boo-boo, didn't you, mate?
Oh mate, I was out drinking, and I didn't realize that I needed to get it in. Otherwise, I'd put a bit more thought. But in between pints, I thought at first like a 1-game punt. So I went for Jesus, who actually did all right to be. Well, he's done okay in 2. But it turned out then that it was a bit longer. So I thought, Ings has got some nice fixtures. I didn't realise it was a monthly punt. So I've gone for Ings. So I've completely buggered this one up. But I'll be back next month sober and making a bit more of an informed choice.
Yeah, we're all blaming the drink, aren't we? 9 points for Rings. Ben Wilson could have been better for Wilson, I think.
Yeah.
Decent option, I thought, but yeah, an 8 and a -1, 7 points.
Injured again now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Right, is that his hamstrings?
Oh, I'm not sure, but I seen some of Steve Bruce saying he's injured again.
Typical. Well, still, he probably wouldn't do as bad as what my choice did. Zaha, he got 3 points. Yeah, and the quicker we move on from that, the better. So
Was that Zaha or ha for the pick? Sorry, yeah.
literally, ha. I don't want to cover it anymore. So the next choice will obviously be from after the international break up until the last game week in September. So we'll get them choices out on Twitter. Community always get the first pick, just because they have to vote, and then we'll all stick our picks underneath afterwards. We'll get a table. Again, there'll be a nice T-shirt to the winner. Hopefully we get that modelled by the winner, whoever that might be. Thanks everyone for listening. Again, if you without the sponsor you might have heard at the start of the pod, beer52.com/tonic, get yourself a free case of 8 beers. Just pay for the delivery, $5.95. Why not? I've had my cases, and they're pretty damn good.
Is that why you picked Zaha?
It pretty much was.
Nailed the case on the edge and was like,
They're quite strong, then nails. Some of them about 6.8%. Yeah, Zaha. That's what happens. But yeah, get over to the website, dreamteamtonic.com. We've got the blogs on there. Dream Team blogs from James and Connor. Reem does an FPL blog. Louis and Max with their FPL reaction podcast. Reese and Steve both do a Sky Fantasy football blog. Steve should be chucking in on this Dream Team blog, shouldn't he? He's flying at the minute. He's got quite a few teams flying. And Mike from the Harriers does a fan team blog, which is great stuff. Great to have you listening. It's boring international break coming up now, but we'll have a week off and we'll be back the following week. So got plenty of time to get this in your ears, plenty of time to have listened, and yeah, hope you have a nice break. Cheers to everyone. James, Ben, Fergie.
Cheers,
Cheers,
mate.
"Thank you, lads. Thanks for having me on."
See you later.
Cheers, mate.